Hello everyone, my name is Roya and this is my April or May wrap-up, part 1. And I know it's a little bit late to do a part 1 of a wrap-up because it's not the 15th anymore, it's like the 20th or something. And so the thing is though, I have read 9 books already. First 4 books I have to show you I already talked about in my Ribsat wrap-up, so I will leave a link to that down in the description below if you want to check that out and hear what my thoughts are on each of these books, because I don't want to repeat myself. But they are Vampire Academy number 4, Blood Promise, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, Choke by Chuck Palahniuk, and The Oathbound by Mercedes Lackey. The next book I read after that was Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, and I loved the crap out of this book. It is so good. This is a standalone fantasy that focuses on 2 sisters named Ciri and Vivenna, and Vivenna has known her whole life that she is supposed to eventually fulfill a role of going to a different kingdom and marrying their god king. And their father has like a last minute freak out and goes, oh no, not my beautiful, like, sad oldest child, I can't send her over there, it's terrible. So he sends Ciri instead. So Ciri goes off to a neighboring kingdom and has to marry the god king and doesn't know what the heck she's doing, and finds out that nothing is how it seems at all. And Vivenna, meanwhile, goes after Ciri and on her own and basically stumbles into her own crazy adventure. So this is a really awesome world with a brilliant magic system, and one thing that's so great about the magic system is that it doesn't make you wish that you could do it at all. Not even a little bit. At least for me. And in this world, the gods in this kingdom that they end up traveling to are actually people who were once like ordinary human beings, but they died and returned. But none of them remember their former lives, and they don't really know what they returned to accomplish. Really weird setting, and it's really, really fantastic and super fun to read about. So because I thought that the 4th Vampire Academy book was so good, I immediately went to the library and got the last 2 books in the series. And I know it sucks that it took this series 3 books to actually get really good, but the last 3 books in this series are fantastic. The 4th one is still my favorite, I think, because that one just gets particularly dark and deep. But these 2 are also very suspenseful, and I could barely put them down. Although this one, for whatever reason, had like 10 typos in it. And like, I don't know if someone was just really mad at their boss that day and just like didn't proofread right, or if it was like their last day working for the publishing company, so they just didn't care, or whatever. But like a whole bunch of typos found their way into this one. I don't know why. So that decreased my rating of this one a little bit, but overall, though, the last 3 books in the series were awesome. Next, I read The Haters by Jessie Andrews. So I have been looking forward to reading this book for so long, and I actually ended up having to go to my old library instead of the one that I go to now in order to get this, because my library that I usually go to didn't even have a copy. So I was actually really amazed. I hadn't been to that other library in a year, so I was actually really amazed that I had my library card number for that library still memorized. But basically, though, this book is so good. So this book is about 3 kids who go to jazz camp, and they really feel like it's not for them, and so one of them gets kicked out, and then the other 2 just join her on this crazy trip where they decide to go on tour all of a sudden, even though they've literally only had 1 practice altogether where they like wrote out a bunch of songs. And and the thing is, this tour is not booked or anything. They literally just drive in search of places to play. And so they obviously, like, for the most part, end up at the crappiest places they could possibly find, and it's so funny. And this whole book is just told in such a funny, witty way that I just loved. This book also really reminded me of Youth in Revolt, which was a favorite of mine in high school. And everything's told in just the funniest way possible, and I just can't even like sing this book's praises enough. Like, it is so funny and so unique. And finally, the last book that I read in this half of May is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This was a buddy read with Karen from A Simple Cup of Tea, and we are actually also buddy reading the second one this month as well, since they're short enough that we thought we could probably get them both done in a month. So that one will be in my wrap up part 2 at the end of the month. But obviously, we both loved this one. She actually was reading it from the illustrated version, which was probably really cool. I have reread this book only once before this, and that was in German, and I feel like I didn't really remember as much for some reason. So it was really interesting reading this again in English for the first time since I was like 11. Obviously, I still love this book. I still love Harry Potter. No duh. Well, there you have it, folks. These are the books that I read in this half of May. I hope you have a really great rest of the month, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!